Let's bring in Florida Republican Congressman Greg Steube. Congressman, good to see you again. Thanks for coming on. It looks like the opposite of social distancing, and then in the middle of all that, the video, I heard a shooting broke out. What's your reaction when you see videos like this?
Look, we've asked people to follow the CDC guidelines, but just like in Florida and other states, people are frustrated by the lockdowns. We've started to reopen in Florida. And if you look at the comparison of deaths and cases in Florida to states like New York, where they completely shut down their economies, the differences are staggering. We have much less death rate here, much less of an infection rate here, while people were still able to work and go out. So I think we should be able to continue to reopen. Look, people can be personally responsible for their own well-being. If they're not sick, if they don't have symptoms, then obviously they don't have to limit themselves by staying home. So I think you're going to continue to see people enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy in this country, and I hope that we'll continue to reopen our country.
Congressman, how is Florida doing specifically with reopening? Are we in phase 2? Where are you now?
We're in what's called full phase 1. So restaurants are at about 50%, retail's at about 50%. We've been out and about, and you see people starting to continue back to normal life, people starting to enjoy going back to restaurants. Retail's pretty much normal. It's just fewer people are allowed in at a time. You see some retailers counting the amount of people going in, some retailers not. So I think you're starting to see a sense of normalcy here. It's Memorial Day weekend, obviously, in Florida, and we probably have some pretty decent people heading to the beaches. Some of the municipalities have decided to close the parking to limit the amount of people that are in the parking lots. But obviously, people can use their own personal responsibility if they're not sick, continue to follow the CDC guidelines, and enjoy Florida and all that Florida has to offer.
I want to thank you, Congressman, for your service. I know you have a passion for public service. You joined the U.S. Army shortly after 9/11. You also serve on the Veteran Affairs Committee. I believe you're a commissioned officer, or you were a commissioned officer as well. Do you think we're doing enough for our vets? How are you remembering fallen heroes today with all the restrictions around?
You know, I don't think we are doing enough to help our veterans. The Mission Act that was passed, the Congress before I got elected, was a great first step to giving our veterans true choice. I filed a bill that would give veterans true choice. And in a district like mine, where it's much more rural, some of my veterans have to travel 3 to 4 hours to get to a VA hospital for a treatment or some type of procedure. And they have to wait 60 to 90 days sometimes to get that done. A bill that I have would give veterans true choice. If they want to go to a provider in their local community and not wait a period of time to go to the VA, they would get the ability to use TRICARE, get that procedure done at a provider in their local municipality or in their local community, and be treated the way I think our veterans should be deserved. So the Mission Act was a great first step. I'm trying to build on that to give veterans true choice. If they want to go to the VA hospital for care, they can. But if they want to stay in their local community to go to a doctor they know and trust, they can do that as well. So hopefully we can get something like that done this Congress.
Congressman, stay on the line with me, if you will. I want to bring in a panel to discuss a few things here that we were talking about. Joining us now, Joe DiGenova, former United States Attorney for Washington, D.C., Jennifer Kearns, contributor for the Daily Caller and The Hill. Thanks for both of you guys for jumping in real quick. Joe, I'll start with you. When we saw the videos earlier circulating about the crowded beaches, the packed pool parties in the Ozarks, what are your thoughts on this? What is the safest way to reopen? I just want to add a note here. A lot on social media, very quick to judge.
Well, the bottom line is very simple. It's time to reopen. The American people are very smart. They know how to do it correctly. There are always going to be outliers of people who don't follow any rules, but that's going to continue even after this is over. What's happening in Democratic states where the governors are clearly overreaching and shutting things down, in my opinion, to hurt President Trump, is definitely unacceptable. And I think the American people are flexing their muscles, especially on Memorial Day, and they're showing some of these governors that they're just not ready to accept the notion, that they can be told what to do. One of the governors said, you're going to have to earn your freedom back. Now, any governor who says that is unfit for office.
Strong words. Jennifer, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I absolutely think Joe is 100% right. And look, I've lived and worked in the military community of San Diego for a better part of a decade. You ask any veteran there or any active military there, what we should be doing on Memorial Day, and they will tell you, take a moment to honor those who gave all, but then go enjoy your day. And that's exactly what Americans are doing. And in fact, at least one of them has told me that our forefathers went to the beaches of Normandy so that we can go to a beach or a barbecue or do whatever we want, as long as you honor the troops and take a moment today to do that. So Joe's absolutely right. Any elected official saying that in California or New York State, boy, they have not taken a Constitution 101 class, and perhaps they should take a look back at that.
Congressman, there's been, switching gears here, there's been a back and forth with President Trump and former Attorney General Jeff Sessions. As you know, he's running for his old Senate seat in Alabama against Tommy Tuberville, and that's set to be held with a runoff election. Your thoughts on that and seeing this kind of back and forth with the president and Jeff Sessions?
Well, I think the president's frustrated, and rightly so, for the way that things were going as he took his presidency. This whole thing that happened with Flynn, everything that happened with the Russia investigation, all the things that we now know that happened to Flynn, those things need to be investigated. And I know that Durham is still conducting his investigation. And I hope that there's some prosecutions that come from that, because if we can't trust our law enforcement officers to do their job and do it honorably and not for political purposes, then we've got some real issues. You know, this week in Congress, they're looking to reauthorize FISA, and without significant reforms, I don't think I can support reauthorizing the ability for FBI agents to use political purposes to spy on Americans.
All right, I'll go to Jennifer now, and then we'll get to you, Joe. Jennifer, your quick thought on that.
Yeah, look, what we've learned about how the Russian collusion case came about, we now know that it was worse than Watergate. You know, the Watergate break-in was involving only a couple of individuals. And this, as Joe could tell you, went deep into the administration of the prior president. This was a coup d'etat. There's no two ways about it. And if you look at the full force of the Obama administration, going against this president, even before he was duly elected by the American people, it's alarming. And the interesting thing that Joe Biden will now have to face the music about is how that trail actually led back to Joe Biden. Joe Biden has traded on his, you know, kind of cool Uncle Joe personality. Well, the FISA unmaskings, that's coming knocking at Joe Biden's doorstep, and he's going to have to answer for the entire Obama administration on this if he wants to get the vote of the American people.
Joe, your final thoughts, sir.
Best thing you can say about Jeff Sessions is he exercised very poor judgment in accepting the attorney generalship and then recusing himself. Whatever the legalities around recusal are, he did not control Rod Rosenstein, who was a deep state plant, who was a very close personal friend of Comey and Mueller, who led the fight to impeach this president. Rosenstein was a snake in the grass. He never should have been deputy attorney general. And as far as Biden and the Obama administration, President Obama is the only president in history to have the FISA court issue 4 orders against him and his administration for lying to the court and conducting illegal spying on American citizens through databases at NSA. That's one heck of a legacy for the guy who says his administration never had any scandals.
And we appreciate you sharing your thoughts on that. Also, Florida Republican Congressman Greg Steube, good to see you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you. Jennifer, Joe, you guys stick around. We'll see you after the break.